Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, Leo King, here for Deep Astrology, your weekly astrology forecast for the week of August the 5th through the 11th of 2020. Thanks so much for being here. And of course, make sure that you check out highvibe.tv. All the links below, of course. Our mothership, the main ship, is the website, highvibe.tv, and the spaceships are your apps on Apple TV, Roku, iOS, and Android, where you can get all of the exclusive content of my daily video horoscopes with tarot, of course, and my weekly sun sign horoscopes, weekly intuitive, weekly tarot, so many other awesome people that are on there also doing work like me. Check it out and make sure that you're a member, because you get this show, Deep Astrology, in its full form. Yes, if you're watching this on YouTube, you get the show, but when we go to the charts, it just goes to audio. So if you want to get it to where you can see the charts, and we do it live stream on Wednesday nights, whereas you on YouTube watch it Thursday mornings. So just want to remind you all that it's recorded if you are watching this on YouTube. But have you looked at Battle of the Gods yet? Now, Battle of the Gods is an awesome video I did on Friday. It's an over 4-hour horoscope presentation, and this goes into what we're about to experience, as above, so below, the biggest battle up in the planets I've ever seen ever, and I literally prove it astrologically to you and go into the history and build up the history of understanding what is going on about 2020 and how the focal point of 2020 and the understanding of it really is going to boil down to what this battle really is. So this is a special video. You can get it on highvibe.tv. The mothership, like I said, which is in the paid video section. It's only $12.95, over 4.5 hours long. It'll give you all the information on what's going on right now. It's quite a show. And then, of course, you can watch it on any of your spaceships, the apps, or Apple TV, Roku, or if you on your phone can Chromecast, you can Chromecast it to your TV as well. So, there's so much astrology for this week. It's hard to kind of boil it all up into just one sentence, of course. Hence, the show is called Deep Astrology. And I think that the understanding of deep astrology really goes into a week like this. That's because we are not only in preparatory energy of massive transits that are about to really start getting more peaked out, like, of course, the Mars cycle, as Mars is slowing down in Aries and made its big square to Jupiter, which we've seen here at the beginning of August, especially with the unfortunate situation in Beirut and Lebanon. And I want to send, of course, so much of my love and care for all the Lebanese people. I have so many Lebanese friends. And, it also, I think, I don't want to say that it underlines, but there's so many other people in the world in other situations from all facets of life going through massive things right now, that we all have to remain strong and still move forward when it's very difficult. And I just want to say that we're all on the planet going through things, and it's moments that are happening like that we see here that really make us start to look around more and look around to where we all can provide as much as we can to help people from suffering and do as best as we can to continue to move forward with life, but at the same token be there for other people as much as we can. And I think that that's a very important part of the understanding of Mars, right? Mars is known as, of course, the god of war, but he also is the hero. And so there's a hero aspect to a lot of this that we are all finding in unfortunate situations and square to all this Capricorn stuff, which could feel like very big restriction, controls, and massive energy that feels difficult to go through. Challenging is a word that I would say is the most lightest word to use. And so this is interesting. We're in the sun in Leo that is helping things out to find the happiness in life, but definitely probably the most stressful time that the sun could ever be in Leo in our history, with Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter, which we're going to start to see the sun this week make quincunxes to. So that's, a very odd angle, right? It's right after the trine, and then you get to that 150-degree angle, and you get a quincunx. And this is going to be kind of weird, as we're also going to see Venus, that's on the North Node on Wednesday, finally conjunct in Gemini. Remember, Venus has been in Gemini for 4 months here. So April, May, June, July, and especially the retrograde cycle that we went through, that we saw, that was really weird, of course, through May and June, that connects back to the 2012 stuff. I've been talking a lot about it. That we are at a point now where we are exiting that cycle. And so there's a lot that's been learned, and the North Node wants us to take the direction that's not easy to take, believe it or not, because it's not as simple. If Venus was at the south node, it would be a lot more easier. But with the south node, of course, being at the galactic center now, I'm going to go deep into the charts tonight, but I'm also going to show you some very interesting information about what it's like when transits hit the galactic center point. And some of the mythology, but also some of the things that happen in the reality that happens when we have very critical points that hit this galactic center. And with the south node being here, not only does it feel like, the whole entire understanding of the galaxy itself or the universe itself is going in somewhat of a downturn or south, right? We always say like, oh, it looks like they're going south. They're going the wrong way, right? This Venus here is in opposition to that, saying the only way to go north right now is to make yourself truly happy when it comes to things that make you feel excited, curious, but more importantly, that make you feel good, that are also logically best for your environment and best for your life. So this is definitely a challenge because you can't just sit in hopes anymore. You just can't sit in the delay, because there's something about Sag that misses the mark. And the reason why that the archer is not really aimed at a specific spot is sometimes it just sits in aims. It just sits in hopes instead of actually taking the Capricorn, the action, the cardinal energy of a plan and initiation. So this is where people can right now feel that they're delayed in a lot of aspects of their life, or they missed an opportunity, or they missed the mark in life, especially when it comes to financial aspects with Uranus, which is in Taurus, and making it semi-square now to the North Node. That's going to be an ever-closing cycle here of getting closer. A semi-square is a 45-degree angle, and so with a 27-degree North Node in a semi-square to Uranus, yeah, the collective right now, and when it comes to where we're at with our financial energies, our abundance, and so forth, the only way we can actually probably access this point really would be through, us making better choices in our relationships, us being better choices in what we do with our money, us being better choices in what we do with our values. And also, I think the Capricorn hard energy is going to be a very hard lesson about patience. And I want to talk about that right now. Because the patience is definitely when it comes to the understanding that missing the mark means you missed the mark. And there's something about Capricorn, about planning, and when you see these three major planets in Capricorn, you got Saturn, you got Jupiter, you got Pluto, and they're at the last decan, meaning they're at the end of the Capricorn part of the zodiac. Now it's ironic because actually Jupiter just went back into the second decan. And that's actually worse, because Jupiter, 15 degrees of Capricorn in old ancient astrology, is the worst degree, the fall position of Jupiter. So we are actually experiencing, which we saw the fall position of Jupiter earlier this year when this whole entire situation came out of, thin air, right, that made us close down the world. And it felt like it was the fall from the world, right? Now you have the South Node on the galactic center, which is the missing the mark of the universe, or that the universe is completely off line, I guess you could say, or better yet, completely chaotic. We do live in a chaotic universe, though. But when you have Jupiter at the fall position, the only way that we get through energies that feel hopeless is by taking action. That's what Mars is trying to teach. And you have to take action in ways that are a little bit uncomfortable, because Venus is going to come into Cancer, and it's not going to be happy. Now, Venus loves Cancer because this is where we feel comfortable. We can have food. It's the lesser benefic Venus. Of course, Jupiter is the greater benefic, but this is Jupiter where it loves to be in Cancer. So like Venus would love to be in a place that the higher benefic would love to be, Cancer, because there's home and comfort. Well, and feeling safe. But this is bringing back the Pluto-Uranus squares of 2012 through 2015, which of course was the Pluto in Capricorn square Uranus in Aries time. And that was a lot of intense energy. And there was actually a moment, and I think it was, 2013, when Jupiter was in Cancer, and that was part of the Pluto and Uranus squares. This Venus aspect is actually now going to go through, when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to our money, when it comes to our feel-good energies, a very hard part of the, not only a hard battle, but it's going to join in and be in the battle of the gods. And the reason why is because Mars in its home sign of Aries is squaring still over to Jupiter in Capricorn, but now it's beginning its squares to Pluto this week. And so this is an extreme moment here, because now Mars is going to square off with Pluto. So if you thought Jupiter was a big crazy thing, Pluto is more intense and more deep and more oh my gosh, like I have to make this change, or I have to make a change in making a choice in my life. And here's Venus going to be in the middle of that battle. Remember that Mars and Pluto as well. Definitely, they do come from Scorpio. So there's that fear tendency. There's that also that rising to the Phoenix moment that only comes to when you face your fear. But I bring up the Pluto-Uranus square because there's a lot of aspects that you had to face from 2012 to 2015 when it came to, are you following the traditional way of life, and are you not ready to innovate and become the higher identity and self that tries to rebel against the system of how you should live and how you really feel that you could be excited to live? And this is where this is all bringing you back to where you might be missing the mark or feel like you have, because it actually is in those moments when you got the knot, or the knot on the head, or the tap on the shoulder, like, hey, it's time to like not follow this world and how it looks and how it should look, and kind of find your own way. And that's a scary moment. It's a lot like a great awakening. It's a lot like Neo when he has to take the red pill, you know. It's not an easy moment. It's very uncomfortable going through to see the truth and to see the light, and then to embed yourself into what the truth really is. Well, Venus now is about to come into this big battle of the gods with Mars square Pluto, and of course Saturn is in quincunx to the North Node. And we're seeing the Sun quincunx Jupiter. So there's a lot of weird angles, and these are angles that create us feeling like we're puppets in a world that we are not the ones in control of the strings. And I'm bringing up that old transit because missing the mark is you've gotten a tap to find that unique self, to be that unique self. And ironically, of course, the Venus retrograde in Gemini that was in 2012. And here we are in 2020, and now Venus comes into Cancer and ends that whole cycle. And you might have to kind of look at 2012 as like, okay, what did you do coming into August, into September when it came out of Gemini, and you went into this Cancerian thing. Now, it was at that time dealing with Pluto-Uranus square, but now we're dealing with Pluto square Mars in Aries and Chiron in Aries. And actually, if we come into Friday, the moon's going to come into Aries and be with Mars and Chiron, and so there's going to be a lot of fire, the Sun and Mercury. Remember, Mercury just came into Leo too. So we're trying to understand that happiness, and Mercury's at full speed, doing 2 degrees a day from Earth's point of view. That's fast, okay? Mercury's jumping 2 degrees a day. So our environment's changing, information's coming up faster, and we have to also find kind of like a little metal detector or a little dog that's sniffing out, you know, a detective work. Like, we've got to be that detective of sniffing out the life that makes us feel happy, and we've got to execute and take action about it, because the pressure that's building up is intense. And that's what's hard about this show, is because, I don't want to say it's hard, it's more like the reason that we do this show and that I've done this show for so long is deep astrology is about that. The astrology is not as simple as just saying Venus is in Cancer, you're going to do really good and feel good. You know, no. This thing's going to have the moon at 29 degrees of Pisces as it squares Venus at 29 degrees of Gemini, and then both click in. Venus clicks into Cancer, the moon clicks into Aries, and there's a square. And it's hard, because it's like, we want to feel good, but did we make the choices, or did we miss the mark, and are we going to do something about it? Have we just kept delaying things and kept being hopeful about things? And this Aries is like, we got to do it now. We got to make the choices now in our life. Because if Mars and Saturn are they're going to eventually have to work something out. Saturn's the ruler of Capricorn, it's in its house. Mars is the ruler of Aries, and they both are dignified. And the Sun's the ruler of Leo. So you've got these massive energies in their dominant houses. And so when you have this Venus in Cancer now, trying to feel good, it's coming in the middle of battle. And where these rulers are ruling. And these rulers are ruling a big battle about rules, laws, and destiny, and whether or not you have had the strength enough, and especially with Leo's sun, the courage and to try and find that true happiness in your life. It will feel very uncomfortable if you're not in that space. I think we're all going to have to make adjustments. I don't think that anybody's getting away with some sort of no, I'm fine and there's no uncomfort, because we're all having to really ascend to a place to find the true emotional place that makes us feel good and comfortable in our lives, and make the adjustments, which are not minor adjustments, they're major adjustments. And so with a moon square Venus, as both are switching signs, that's always an indication that definitely our emotions are going to go through a lot when it comes to the choices that we do have to make. And some people might not get it. Yourself might not get it. And that's the thing is, who gives a flying crap about what anybody thinks? Whenever Uranus, especially, has been in semi-square to Neptune for these last couple of years, and it's going to continue as Uranus will come back in retrograde here in the next couple of weeks. And when it comes back, it's going to semi-square Neptune again. But now we're seeing Uranus semi-square Venus, actually, it was like on the 3rd. And then we're going to see now with the North Node that's coming towards it. So when it comes to your destiny, of the changes that you need to make that make sense to you in your life, only you know that in yourself. And there's going to be other people that have other systems and other values that are going to tell you. And this is kind of the cancel culture. This is the fights online. This is the, left and the right. If you even associate with one side, like you're automatically categorized into that and thrown into the delete list on, there's people who probably right now have a pen and paper out, which is very old Pluto Capricorn. He's still on the quill pen? Come on, he's still dipping it in ink? Pluto's trying to say, like, that's over, but they're still like, I'm deleting this person today, I'm deleting this person, they do this, they have this belief, they're not this, they're not that, they're not this, da-da-da. Don't worry about any of those people. Worry about your own happiness here and your own energy and aligning with the people that actually feel like twins, but feel like in a sense that you don't have to be on the same side of like some sort of belief system. Because I think that that's the problem, is because even though people might have similar beliefs, and especially in a hyper belief system of South Node and Sag and with Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn in its worst sign and in its worst decan, that it could be possibly, and with the South Node on the Galactic center, which I'm going to go deeper in and show you why, that even being on the right side of, let's say, politics doesn't mean that you're going to get along with the person. Because that might be one thing, but the way that they go to the bathroom, or that the way that they smell, or that the way that they talk, or that the way that, we forget about all the other little things. That right now, just because somebody is on one side of everything, you automatically characterize them. And this is about stopping the stigma around characterization to find the comfort, because the Sun in Leo and a Mars in Aries is about the true self and its expression of its true self. And you might actually be wasting your whole life by characterizing a group of people that you meet, or all kinds of people, based upon, well, they like that, so I will never talk to that person ever in my life. Well, you just missed out on, what if you don't agree with that, but what about you agree with everything else, 99.4% of everything else, but that 0.06% you don't like? So you just missed out. But you're going to go accept somebody because they're in the same belief system, but you only like 32% of who they are? You know what I mean? This is why the problems are in the world. And this Venus in Cancer is going to try and find home emotionally with relationships and feeling good. And this deals with food. And this deals with money. And you know what? It's coming in opposition, right? Just by naturally coming into Cancer to Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter and Capricorn, which are retrograde, which are all very slow. The month of August is going to feel like a dimmer switch, that every day that you keep going through August is like more delays, more challenges, more and more patience, till we get to September and Mars squares Saturn at the end of August and beginning of September, and they just both stop and Mars retrogrades. And we're gonna see this moment where people are gonna go, freak out. And so that's why I'm trying to prevent the freakouts right now by having you realize that this is a week when it comes to, home is where the emotions, wherever that they go. And there's something unique about this Uranus North Node semi-square. There's something unique about this Sun quincunx Jupiter. There's something unique about this South Node on the Galactic center. There's something unique about Venus in the middle of a crap show, that maybe we need to actually start trying some really different ways and putting other, I would say, truthful things in our life into the front, opposed to putting these belief systems in the front. Or even putting this way that we expect, or things that should look first, because this is not a great time to find happiness if you're not going to make choices that are the best for your long-term self. And if you're going to really think about long-term self as a conscious human being, you would think that you wouldn't let beliefs get in the way. Even, I'm going to bring up, I guess you could say, like, it triggers some people now, which I think is sad that you can't even speak truth, but the Founding Fathers did not agree on the Constitution at the same time. Especially, John Adams didn't, because Sam Adams didn't either. That was his cousin. And he was the second vice president, or the first vice president, second president. There was a lot of people with different beliefs, but there was one thing, and this is where it's kind of an interesting thing that everybody right now in the world is throwing out the word occult. And occult is the now term of the new witch trials, since we are at Neptune at 20 degrees retrograde, going into 19, and that's exactly when the witch trials happened in Salem. And so anything that says that it's occult now, which of course being an astrologer, hey, I'm in the occult world, which occult just means hidden, unknown, or you don't know shit about it, and you've never looked at it, and maybe it's scary for you to go look behind the door and see what's really there. There is evil occult out there, and then there's positive. Just how there's evil religious aspects out there, then there's really positive. But that's the irony of what's going on right now, is when it comes to this energy of, I'm going to use the Freemasons, they did have something that made sense to me. I'm not a Freemason, just put it out there. Everybody thinks I'm Freemason. Especially if I put Daft Punk on, it's kind of crazy. It's like, they're like, oh yeah, but they have the pyramid, I'm like, oh my God. I'm just trying to tell you that you don't bring your beliefs into Freemason lodges, right? Like when they go into a meeting. Because now, I believe women should be part of Freemason if it was real. Like it makes no sense, it's just men. And there's a lot of weird shit that goes along with it. But there's an idealization of the fact that you don't bring your belief. It doesn't matter what religion you are, unless we're going to come together and do work together and come together and build something like a country, that you don't bring your belief and project your belief of, we all believe that we are all connected to a divine, however that might look. It's like the coexist stickers that are on the back of cars. But that triggers, I've been in cars with people that are super religious and been like, oh my God, I can't stand that sticker. You know what I mean? I can't stand to see my religion next to another one, And it's like, how else are we going to coexist? How else are we going to get anything beautiful done in our lives? And I think that this is what the problem is, and I think that this is what the hard part is when it comes to that understanding, and that's why I use it as an example, is because in that Freemason energy, what do? You literally go, okay, I'm not going to, if I'm a Christian or if I'm a Muslim, if I'm into this, I'm not going to project that into the lens or the scope of whatever's being done onto my fellow human being that's in the group to do something. So and they're the ones who did create the Constitution, and I forgot the exact number, but there was a lot of Freemasons that signed not only the Declaration of Independence, but also that were the creators of the Constitution. And that was because they did find a way to not keep, and that's why it says in God we trust. It doesn't say in Jesus we trust, in Allah we trust. It just says God, and it's not connected to a Christian God. It's just connected to a divine God. That's it. And I think that some people have a hard time understanding that. And a lot of the stuff that's been out there, and I know I'm going on a little bit of a rant, but because I feel that I need to, and I'm a truth speaker. And this is a time to be in your truth with Mercury and Leo, and Mercury's going to square Uranus. So, your environment's going to shift. And I would say, well, I'll get to that in a second. I want to finish my point, is that being a truth speaker, like people don't do enough understanding of what was done and how any organization or anything in life can be tainted in the wrong direction, including our governments, right? At one point, our government was something around the world, wherever you're at. There's one time when the government was beautiful, or we look back in history and we go, that was a great leader, or that was a great, even your school might be great, but now it might have a bunch of crappy teachers, right? Now, we don't like it no more. Anything can be tainted. And so some of these systems that actually had some very high spiritual and positive things got tainted and got taken in the wrong direction. So, but they're looked at that way forever. But you don't want to look at some of the valuable nuggets in some of those things and throw them out the window like right now. And especially even all religions, right? There's parts of all religions. Like, God, look at that nugget. Look at this nugget. Look at this. For me, there's a lot of Christian in me, I chains of, I don't even know. I have a lot of crosses on. So this is a moment for us all to realize that we can coexist, but we can also disagree. But we have to look at ourselves and go, do I really have to go throw up a big disagreement, or can I just move on with my life to the place that makes me feel better? And not let these big beliefs get in the way of it all. Because that's the problem. Now, what I was going to say last before we go to these charts is, the big transits to me this week would be the Moon and Mars this weekend. That'll square Jupiter. So this weekend is kind of a build-up to, did you listen over the last week prior? So when we get to this weekend and we get to the 8th and the 9th, it's like with this Moon in Aries, with Chiron, with Mars, we're not going to see the Moon and Mars meet again with Mars direct until, another 3 months. So this is the last time the Moon will be in Mars with Mars direct. And this is your last kind of call of last calls of last calls. As I said, the Battle of the Guards would start August 3rd. And I don't even know how many explosions happened from August 3rd and 4th. It's insane. Not just the one in Lebanon, but there was ones in Japan, there was one in China, there was one in North Korea, there was one in St. Paul, Minnesota, there was one. It was insane when I saw the pictures today. That, are you going to allow yourself to, your life to explode because you chose not to, you just want to stay in that building and have the hope that, you're going to define your life in this exploding energy, or are you going to use the explosion of like a launch pad to the life that you really want? And so it'll feel challenging, and whatever does feel challenging is an opposite direction of what to go on, or to hold space for, I guess you could say, and let go of that space. I'd say that the other big transit, though, that I would say is coming is this Moon in Taurus that will square the Sun, of course. It'll be the 3/4 square, because we just had a full moon. And it's going to pass Uranus, of course, and, this is Taurus Leo. You're talking to a Taurus Leo, Leo Sun, Taurus Moon, right? Unless your life is the most happy and you have all the things that make you feel comfortable and good in the physical realm and the nicest of things, and also just the feel-good energy, because Taurus Leo is this bright energy of the fixed energies, right? It's the two fixed energies that are in the day. So it's this ultimate fixed energy of the Garden of Eden and the glory of love and light. And when you mix those two together, it's ecstasy. If your life ain't ecstasy, which I'll be honest, this is the hardest time to feel like you're on ecstasy. Even if you were to take ecstasy, it probably wouldn't feel the same. It's going to be real. So, I'm just trying to say, though, that there is still a way to find that true ecstasy, even though you're going to have to kind of go, well, this is also a time where there is restrictions and there is things, but the opposite of ecstasy is feeling like there is nothing worth feeling happy about at all in life. And so this is going to bring up mental health a lot in a weirder sense, that this is triggering not just emotional with Venus and Cancer and the Moon squaring it, and also Venus is going to have to go through these major, major hard aspects over these next couple weeks, while Mars as well is slowing down and slowing down and slowing down. We're not having any more energy to keep us moving with only the plans that we have, instead of us thinking that something new will come along in front of us. It's not. So this is this weekend where you got to make your choice and see if you're really in ecstasy, and you'll know that by the end of this weekend. Not only this weekend, then this week on the 11th. When that Moon is in Taurus and that Sun is in Leo and Mercury's in Leo, Mercury squares Uranus too, your environment will go through crazy instant change. It's more instant change to find that ultimate happiness and ecstasy. And it's very possible. So I want to give the positive that it is possible, but it's not also going to be possible by just sitting around and doing the same thing, because that's missing the mark. And so to close this, have you missed the mark? I'm here to wake you up, because I would say that this week is your last wake up, where As the archer, you got to let go of maybe where you've been aiming and it's just been missing the mark, missing the target every time. Maybe you've been aiming in the wrong direction, and maybe you need to aim at a better direction now in your life, and you need to take control of your life by taking action and by redefining yourself and not being so afraid. So you can put yourself in a place that makes you feel safer, more comfortable, and feel like you actually are feeling the ecstasy that we came down here to feel. Let's look at the charts. You really are my ecstasy. Ironic when that song came out too. I think, if I'm correct, that song is 2005 when Saturn was exiting Cancer and coming into Leo. And we are in the exact opposite to that point. If you know the song, ATB, Ecstasy. So, if you are new to this on YouTube, this is where it's going to turn into just audio. But we are going to be looking at the charts. But you can get the audio right now for free if you just stay on YouTube. But if you want to watch what I do with the charts, I'm going to actually be showing a lot of physical stuff today. Make sure that you just go to highvibe.tv. We have a 7-day free trial. And watch the show. Of course, it won't be live if you're new because people already on highvibe.tv are watching live and they get it on Wednesday nights. And I think that today, usually I'll sit here and talk on the couch for a good 10 minutes about things. But I think that it's pretty clear. Did you miss the mark or not? And are you ready to... I think we've all missed the mark in some sort of way because it is a wide sky that Sagittarius represents and understands, and a wide view. And understanding the galactic center is understanding a vast space of, I guess you could say, the eternal universe. There's a lot of places to aim, and when we're in North Node Gemini, there's a lot of places to figure out where to aim and all that stuff. But there is the intuition that comes with, this is where my life, I know, it makes sense to me. And that's what's hard, because if we're going to bring up this battle of the gods a lot, the battle of the gods is, are you going to get trampled by the battle of the gods, or are you going to be on the right side of the energy of wherever the battle ends? You know, it would be a lot like being in Mortal Kombat, and they threw you in the video game, and it's like, where do I go? You know what I mean? Like, is Sub-Zero gonna fucking freeze me? Or, you know, that's like Saturn Capricorn, like Sub-Zero, you know, and like the fire of Mars would be like, I don't know, like, well, maybe a little Liu Kang. I guess he's the original, like, and you know, Liu Kang. But I would just say that we're just at a moment here where, don't miss the mark. God is very forgiving. But even with forgiveness, it doesn't mean that God will just place you. God's giving you divine choice. God's giving you divine choice in a sense that there is a look at your values. There's a look at the things in life that is of the eternal heart that's connected to the divine. And that space will truly be the ecstasy that God offers. But it's not like God offers you hell, but it could feel that way because there's a part where if you don't want to show up and you want to keep missing the mark and you're not hearing the signs from God, you're not hearing the signs from the universe, it's been too much writing on the wall. At this point, there's been so much writing on the wall, what needs to change? That, you know, everybody has delayed. So don't feel bad. Everybody's delayed. There's a part in your life where you know deep down you've delayed. And this is where we just do it or we don't. And it's not easy, but at the same time, it's much better on the other side. So we're almost ready for the charts. But so I guess the universe did want me to sit on the couch and talk a little longer. Quincunxes are rough. I was born with a lot of them, so I kind of get it better. I like let God be the puppet master for me, and I just, okay, God, this is what you want me to do. And so I've allowed God to be that puppet master. And in many ways, as Pinocchio has always wanted to be a real boy, there was a sense that when I finally allowed, maybe not Geppetto be the one who ruled me, but I listened to Jiminy Cricket more, and I allowed, we could use the fairy godmother of that, the blue fairy, as God or the angels or the higher realms, that the wish does come true when you understand and you listen to your consciousness, and you don't try and control it the way you do, because that's the whole lesson in Pinocchio, is that when Pinocchio thinks that going to Pleasure Island is the right thing, and like listens to the young boy who's smoking a cigar with him at the pool table, like, get out of here, Jiminy Cricket. And it's not even really Pinocchio who says it, it's like the other boy. Like, is that who you're around, or is that the kind of vibes that you're around in your life, and is that where you want to be? I don't think you do. So let's look at the charts. Make sure you join highvibe.tv right now if you want to watch them, or just enjoy the audio here. 7-day free trial always. highvibe.tv is the mothership, and your apps are the space ships. Also, Battle of the Gods, $12.95, 4 hours plus. I go deep into my case and my research of history and the astrology of what's playing out already, that we're already in, and it's just started. So here we are for today, August the 5th of 2020. Definitely a big day because Venus has passed the North Node finally. So remember that the North Node came in on May 5th, okay, and into Gemini. And Venus was in Gemini already because that came in near the end of March, beginning of April. So these two have been together for 4 months, but they have not made their contact, and their contact has happened. Now, of course, this is the North Node of the Moon, so this is a knot, and node, of course, is knot in Latin. And so this is where Venus is not as happy as she would rather be down here with the South Node, which is in Sag, because this is Ketu, and the North Node's Rahu, but Ketu is the tail, and there's something much more easier and benefic and chilled out about the South Node because it's a lot easier to do, a lot more comfortable to do. And Venus would rather be down there, but it's in opposition with Rahu, which is, no, this is the direction we must go. So that's the dragon that completes. And this is also the connection to the reality. If you want to think about the North and the South Node in astrology, think of it like in the Matrix, the connection to the Matrix from the human body, but from a soul level instead of a computer. That wherever that is in your chart, that's like your connecting line. That's also where your prenatal eclipses are going to be, like your lunar prenatal and your solar prenatal. But that's the eclipses that happen while you're in the womb before you're born. But this is a big deal because this is what is triggering what I'm saying about did you miss the mark or not, because Gemini is the point. So if we were to kind of write that out, the point. Whereas if we're thinking about the archer and we're just like, if I were just going to draw a little bow and arrow, right, okay, like, and if you want to think of Venus, Cupid's arrow too, right? Like it's pointing towards Gemini, in which Gemini is the target. Where's the point of things in life? And the reason why I drew that's actually the glyph of the sun, if you notice right here, right? The glyph of the sun, why did they put a point in the middle? Well, the best friend of the sun is Mercury, and that's the battle, the control right now that is of people's minds. That is always how people change the world, is changing people's minds. And that's what Mercury was conjunct on January 12th with the Sun, Pluto, Saturn, Ceres. It was Mercury. And so the point, and remember that the closest planet to the Sun, the only one that really gets the understanding of what's happening through the projector lens of the Sun, which is the projector of our reality, which is a projector that's connected to the reals of all the other projectors of the suns that are around our galaxies and our galaxy, but also others. They're playing out these realities for us, and the closest seat is Mercury. And so we have to think of Venus on the North Node as, are you watching the movie in your life, and are you getting the point of this movie, or are you that person who's asking questions every second? I'm very Mercurial, and I'm very Leo, and I'm very Gemini-ish. So when somebody is watching a video or movie with me, and they're like, so are they going to do this down the movie? I'm like, why don't you watch the movie? You don't get the point already? Like, maybe you do get the point, but then you're still questioning the point too much. So if you're one of those people that question movies all the time, in the middle of the movie, you don't know how to go with the flow and see the writing on the wall, like it will get figured out. They're not going to not address it. It's that big of a point that has to be made. So are you ready to like finally find what's Venus stuff? This is a big deal. This is not going to happen in our lives again after, not only is Venus not going to meet with the North Node in Gemini till next year, but after that it will be the 18, 19-year cycle, and it won't be retrograde Venus with the North Node at that same time. So we're never going to see that in our lives again. And so this has been a more deeper, intense point than ever about Venus, and it goes back 24 years. It's 1996, 24 years of crazy cycles about this that I would say is also connected to 2012 and the Mayan calendar shift too. And there's something about 2020 that's resembling the summer of 2020 or the fall or the winter of 2012. The winter if you're in Australia, or the summer of 2012 if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, that was the transfer into the new 2012 energies. Your whole life went into a whole different, the understanding of what 2012 was, because January into, I would say, July of 2012 was like, what the hell, what is going on? And then August and beyond brought you into, oh, this is where I'm going, and I never thought I'd be here. I never thought I'd go there. Never thought I would do this. Never thought I would do that. Like that's the whole thing of like, if you're questioning this movie and this reel so much, maybe you're not looking at any of the points and going, I want to figure out the point, and I'm going to follow the trail or go with the flow and do it, as opposed to, I'm just going to keep questioning it, but I don't really get it still. Like, I don't think that there's anybody that fully gets anything in life right now, but at least there's people who get the point of where to go, and that point will be figured out, opposed to continuing to question things and get stuck in more of a belief. Well, I believe it should be that way. I believe it should look this way. Well, that's just not what the universe is telling you to do. I believe that if this person does this, that it will all change. Yeah, right. That's been happening a lot, right? Everybody promises that they're going to change everything and do this, and they don't. So this is where you just align with the best things that make sense to the point for your feel-good energy, your money, your relationships, and you got to do it. This is a destined transit. This is extremely rare. I'd put this on a scale of 1 to 10 of rarity, 10. It's happening tonight as I'm doing this and finishing. And this is all while Mars has been square Jupiter. And that, of course, was exact yesterday on the 4th during the Lebanon explosion. So there's astrology at work, folks. Unfortunately, it wasn't the way that we want to see things. It is a square, but it sucks. Because there's some sort of... Mars is a magnifier. And Jupiter's a magnifier. Mars in square, that's hard. Mars in Aries is war, and it's explosions, and it's bombs, and it's a lot of crazy things. And when it squares Jupiter, it's like overexpansion. And also there's another story that we don't know. Jupiter rules stories, did we get everything? And with Capricorn there, with Pluto, because if you see Pluto is with Jupiter, there's some hidden story going on of control and governments with Mars of war. And whether you want to think I'm crazy or not, that's what's going to be revealed here. Not just some random thing. And that's the other thing, is nothing's random right now. Everybody thinks that this is all random. This is all, astrology is, astrologers have been saying, look out, wake up, be ready. I'm not the only one. But come on, this is the big deal now. And I would say that, it's Sun in Leo, and the Sun in Leo is getting ready for its trines to Mars. So this will either be a rocket ship for you in a week's time, off the choices that you've been making, or feeling like you missed the mark. You're going to hear that a lot tonight. So let's move on. Let's go to Thursday. Because Thursday we have the moon in Pisces. It's going to conjunct Neptune. And so while this is going down, it's like, okay, we're a little bit just figuring out or following our intuition and our gut the best that we can emotionally, but it might be very sensitive. Venus will be at 29 degrees, the last degree of Gemini. And so there's an edge. Venus is like pretty much ready to get out of Gemini. She has been all over the place, figuring out things, had to go through a retrograde, had to disappear, had to become the evening star to the morning star. She's had the North Node Rahu. It's, you know, it's kind of a masculine energy that wants, you know, I'll be honest. I'm going to use the Lebanon thing, and I'm going to say this as an astrologer. North Node Venus is everybody on the planet. When it comes to money relationships, it's the deepest want, Rahu. Because whenever you're dealing with Rahu Venus, guess what? That's when people will do anything to get the money that they can. Look at these stories of people in America who took the PPP, like took out like $1 million, went and bought a Lambo, went out and bought an F-350, went out and bought all this money when it was supposed to be used for like maintaining the business to stay running. So, right? That's North Node Venus shit. And so this North Node Venus, when it comes to the Lebanon thing, a good example is people will do anything for money. People will do anything right now, in a sense, to be in the right energy when it comes to relationships too. If they have to break up with somebody, or if they have to get with somebody that feels right, like it's I need to have this no matter what. And that's where the release of the South Node kind of helps Venus, of also sometimes like, I can accept this feels good, I like this. When it's on the North Node, it's like, I don't have it. I need to have it because it's invisible. And there's a sense that it's clear that it's invisible, where it's unclear it's invisible with the South Node. And that's the unclarity of the galactic center that's going to be building here, is that there is people believe that they understand how the universe works by the world that's being shown to them, but it's not. It's actually the most foggy existence of all time. The North Node's telling you to go do your own independent fact-checking with a North Node of Gemini that is about Mercury, alchemy, study Hermetic alchemy, study the contrast of life. That if you're going to look at what the media says, go look at the other side of what the media says. And if you're somebody who's, I'm going to be very, very nice tonight to get out information without triggering people just from my personality. Don't be ignorant. An ignorant person doesn't look at the other side. An ignorant person only looks at one side of things. If your dog or your cat or one of your family members was in a car accident and they were in the hospital right now, and the doctor said they recommend they do this, but they won't be able to see again, would you want a second opinion from another doctor or talk to the nurse? Or maybe, and it's like, how much time do I have? Well, you got about 16 hours or whatever. It's like, okay, maybe I should call my friend who's a doctor. What do they think? I know a surgeon who's, you want to see the contrast of life, because some other person will be like, don't do that. I have this one thing. Is it a compact fracture on the brain in this one thing? Oh my gosh, you're 2 blocks from that hospital. Let me call them right now. Oh my gosh, they'll take you in right now. You don't know until you call, until you look at the contrast of things in life. If you're that easy of a bait person, that you're just going to take the bait of everything right now, that there is this all-knowing of the universe, including when you hear what I say, don't just take what I say for it. Go look at other situations or other people, and you make up your own independent study of your mind and your own contrast, as that's what feels like you're connected to God and truth. But if you're not willing to look at the other side of anything and declare it the truth, then you're not a truth bringer. Because of the fact that also Libra is another air sign, and what does that do? That has to weigh out both sides. You don't know the truth till you hear the defense and you hear the plaintiff. If you go into Aquarius, you are not ever in the truth unless you look at all people and you look at the whole universe as much as you can understand possible. Or you look at the all energy of every angle about it. So, you can see a car in a picture and it looks really good, but it might look like crap when it's driving down the street and you look at it from behind. You're like, God, that car's so ugly. You know, when they sold the Ford Pinto, I guarantee you they didn't show the rear end as much as they showed the front end. Same thing goes with men and women on pictures on Instagram. You notice the ones that only post the ones from the front and they don't want to show the back, or some only show the back and they don't want to show the front. That's because they don't want to show you the other side. And if you were a smart person and you were into that kind of thing, or if you're on a dating site, that's the first thing that you do is you go, I want to see what the whole person's like before I have to go meet this person, especially in this world, right? So if somebody's only face pictures, well, they obviously don't want to show their body. That's triggering. But that's truth. Right? That's the shit I'm talking about. Have you done that in your own life about everything? Have you done that in your life about especially Venus stuff, your relationships, why you're in a spot when it's about your money? And I'm not saying that anybody's in a wrong space on either other, but you have to be willing to look and see if you are, and if you are not on the right side, then this is where you make that choice. You contrasted it and you realize, yeah, this is not my truth. And that's what it is. You got to the point. And that's what Thursday's really about, is with this moon Neptune, there is something about the point coming across very clearly spiritually. Mercury at 3 degrees of Leo, definitely going really fast. Remember, if I'm going to show you guys the speeds here, Mercury is almost at 2 degrees. Wow. But look at that Mars, slow, 24 minutes a day. Mars likes to do about 38 degrees, or 38 minutes a day. So it's slowing down. And Mars is not happy slow, right? So Mars is the masculine, Venus is the feminine. Venus is not fully at her full speed yet, right? She's trying to catch up to the sun. She's like, don't forget about me. You know, she's on her way. Come on, I'm coming, I'm coming. You know what I mean? And Mars is like hoping in Aries, of course, to be this hero, but it's got Chiron there, there's wounds. So when it comes to the identity of the way that life looks already, it feels like, oh, life does not look the way I want to. Because of what? The squares to this Capricorn. Am I not living in my deep emotional truth because I'm too afraid to take a risk to control governments, laws? More importantly, though, I'm not in alignment with my destiny, and I know it. I know it. Jupiter, Pluto. I've dug deep. I've dug so deep, I know. I am afraid to take the risk of what it looks like to explode and implode something that I don't really align with in my destiny. And I am willing to take the risk and take the courage, even though it's going to hurt, in a sense that of sensitivity or oddness or weirdness. And then you mix, why I keep bringing up this North Node starting to semi-square Uranus here in Taurus, is why do you care about the opinion about other people and what their values are about what you do and what your truth is? Why do you care so much? There's no reason to care. Because especially, what is that going to do for you? It's not going to do anything except you starting to go be more of a sheep based upon what other people's viewpoint is of you and other people's values against you. And that means you're not going to live in your truth, because then you're going to live in their truth. So this is about whether or not you're ready to live in your truth, or you're ready to go live in somebody else's, some organization, some corporate, some business, some government, some other, even your best friend possibly's truth. That's not your truth. That does not align with your truth. You did not contrast it. You did not look at it all deeply. And you missed the mark when you do that. But you hit the target when you do follow your own values and needs and wants. But it looks like that you are a tyrant, North Node Venus, because you finally step up into your value, which is why Taurus sometimes get associated with the stubborn ones. And even Libras, like I wanted the relationship and I was in it, but now I don't. It's like, well, hey, you're allowed to do that. You're a human being. If it was a year relationship and it didn't work out, Libra, I get it. You know what? Yeah, fuck yeah. Like, you know what I mean? That's how that diplomats work, right? We had a great deal. Our two countries were working great, but then now, you know what? I don't think so. Like, that's life. There's no utopia. Sorry to tell y'all. That means it would just be one zodiac sign You're Aquarius, and there's no such thing as a perfect utopia. The utopia is when we leave this life and how well we did and how well we ascend out through our lessons and learning and acceptance of our true self and acceptance of other people's true self. That's heaven. We'll see if people can create that here on Earth. Friday is going to get extreme. So I actually did this, and really weird, the timing. It's actually, it was like 1 minute off, and I was laughing of the exact square here, or sorry, the moment that I was talking about earlier today. But actually, it will reach 44444 if you are in California. It'll be 6 4s, or 5 4s, right? 5 4s. This is the moon that's going to be in Pisces at 29 degrees, which is the hardest degree in the zodiac. Hardest. Emotionally. Of a let go. Emotionally. To what? Venus, 2951, ready to get out and come into Cancer. Because we're going to see Venus coming to Cancer on Friday. But before, the moon is going to be in, we're going to see we're going to see two energies go into 2 different signs. So we're going to see 4 energetic vibrations play out between only 2 planets in exact square. Challenge with either a gift or I don't want to deal with it. And what is that? I'm not ready to let go of what is not that truth. I am going to sit in the shit of my own fear of allowing the universe and the guidance of the universe to surrender me emotionally to what the truth is, or I'm going to surrender my truth and deal with the loss of that truth and live with, I'm going to go with the flow of my non-truth in my values, in the people I'm around, the relationships I choose, and how I'm going to go through this rest of this year about money. Just being honest. And so, I thought that was pretty crazy to see, because as you see right here now on Friday, when we actually start to get into gear Friday, because that's at 4:44 a.m. Pacific, so that'll be like 7:44 a.m. Eastern. This is where it goes. Venus will come into Cancer, and it's this Venus in Cancer here that's a big deal. It's the one that now changes, that we have not seen Venus change signs here in at least 4 months. That's weird. That's weird. Usually we're used to seeing Venus change signs. Sometimes it's about a month cycle. But now the moon's in Aries. Woo! So that's what I'm saying is within a very quick moment, these energies dealing with emotions and dealing with values shift into cardinal and leave mutable. And when you're at mutable, that's change. And then it's like direction now. Definement. And this is good because I even though it's going to be a little harsh, I think it's good because people are done with Venus being in Gemini and just being on the, let me think about where's this going and where's that and how's that going to look and what happened and this text and that email and that hard convo and this hard convo and where's it going here and how's it going to turn out here and now it goes in Cancer and goes, okay, I need to define this is where I'm going to go and this is where it's going to feel good emotionally. And the moon in Aries is like, yeah, like I need what I need emotionally to go to the direction to feel something, or at least to have the courage to get that feeling. And that's a pressure point though. It's at the 0 point and the 29 degree point of all of zodiac, because the whole zodiac is defined off, if I go back to that chart, the whole zodiac of course is defined by the line between, right, Aries and Pisces, which is the last and the first zodiac of the sign, right? So this is the 12th sign, or 12th, and that's the first. So this area, this is a complete fresh new start, emotionally, and it's squaring a 0 spot where, ironically, Venus is exactly going to be at 29 degrees. This is where the comet Neowise came in, the 6,800 year comet. Was at 29 degrees of Gemini, and then the solar eclipse on that day was at 0 degrees of Cancer. And so we're going to see Venus now, who lights up the morning. Did that comet and that eclipse allow you to find your ultimate home? Or are you not ready to let go of what you define and you think it is, even if it's not your truth. And that's going to be a downhill thing quick. And there's pretty much no more. That's why this weekend is going to be really like the ignitions to the direction in your life, or the flame out when you try to push the button to start the rocket. And that's what I'm going to show you right here, because that's what these two transits are doing. And so the moon will also be on Chiron that night, so you would go to bed on Friday night, like, or you might try to do something, and it's like, if you're not in your truth, it's going to feel like, fuck, shit. Not going to feel too good. Now Saturday comes, and this is where we're going to see this moon get ready to hit Mars. And so I'm using even red here, because that moon and Mars, whew, that's very intense energy to be born with moon Mars. If you do, in Aries especially, that's definitely emotional frustration or emotional action or emotional anger or emotional outbursts. And we're going to see it in square to the Jupiter-Pluto square, or conjunction, but squaring. And that's already Jupiter and Pluto, the most kind of extreme amplification of amplification. Both planets are amplifiers. So you're turning the knob past 10 to 11, but then you're going past 11 and you're going, you know. And so, you know, but that's like, okay, rocket ship or dud. And then the frustration of something being a dud in life, right? There's nothing more frustrating than feeling like I'm putting everything I got into this and this is just a block. It's not going the way I want to. That's all defined about your truth or not. And that's all defined by Venus now being in Cancer, past the solar eclipse degree, past where the comet was. And this is all while the South Node is now on the galactic center, which is exactly 27 degrees of Sag. And this is where we've been kind of on the build up to the world feeling so chaotic and crazy. And this is going to start to feel chaotic. But it's whether or not you know how to know that your own personal space is not chaotic. The world seems chaotic, but does your own personal space feel chaotic? I'm going to show you just an example of that right now. Like, I just made it a little bit more chaotic right there. So, all these things in the world that everybody's so freaked out about and shit. No, it depends on your environment, though. How you create your environment and where you're at. The writing's on the wall about every environment. That's truth that some people don't want to hear, right? Like, why is everybody moving out of New York? Writing's pretty much on the wall. They just added 21 checkpoints today. 21 checkpoints. And I don't know how they're going to do this, but if they find out you're not there and you haven't quarantined right, that you get a $10,000 fine? That's writing on the wall to leave. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying leave, but I'm saying, like, you know, for me, that would be like, okay, I'm fucking out. This is becoming Gestapo now. This is turning into Nazi Germany. Like, let me see your papers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? And I get fined? What's the next thing? Oh, no, you're going to fucking NYPD jail. So, this is where the writing is on your wall by all of your environment situations. And whether it's really restricting or life-giving, wow, bam. And that can definitely happen. Sunday, now things start to get intense because that moon will pass Mars and it will be with Aries and Lilith. Whew. Remember that Aries creates chaos for truth. Like, that's what she does. She's the goddess of bringing that truth out through chaos. But the chaos that we are seeing in the planet right now has a lot to do with the chaos to reveal that there's not a lot of truth being told on the world. And of course, it's interesting that Lilith is with it too. And these two goddesses, I would not fuck with to do anything with in my life. So if you are really not living in your truth, it's going to be the biggest chaotic moment of your life, of your existence, starting to feel ever. Then Mars is heading towards that, by the way, and it's going to retrograde over Aries, and you know, Lilith moves around a lot. But with the moon on top of that, you'll feel either like you have two creepy goddesses that look like they're from the dark side of the dark of chaos, and because you weren't in your truth and you're not going to follow your own guidance and your own intuition and your own facts that you figure things out in life, or are you sheep? And this is where it feels like the sheep herder has finally got you and herded you in. So I'm predicting on the world stage some sort of sheep herding the sheep, okay? For people who, and that they give no resistance to it, didn't change their lives and didn't live in their truth. There's some part that the universe is ready to just say, I'm done. Okay, here's the people who don't want to do that. And I know I might sound crazy, but that's where it is. Because at the same token, the sun at 17 degrees of Leo is getting ready for its quincunx to Jupiter. And here's Mercury doing 2 degrees a day on Sunday. Look at this. Mercury, boom, fast 2 degrees a day. Whoo! That is my favorite thing in the world right there. I'm a racer, so I like things going fast. And I love Mercury. It's my favorite planet. So, fuck yeah. It's on for your happiness or not. But what is Mercury doing? If it's doing 2 degrees a day on Sunday, that means it's going to square Uranus at 10 degrees. So by the end of Sunday, so as the moon's on Aries and the moon is on Lilith, and it just went over Mars, and those are squaring, and the moon will square Saturn exactly, ooh, that's not fun either, because that's like, oh God, I did not emotionally take who I am in order to go up against Saturn, and whether or not you pass the test of Saturn of like, are you on your destiny, child? Are you in alignment with your destiny? Do you have responsibility in yourself? Or do we feel like I have to be responsible for you because you don't know how to be responsible with your own truth? Like, because Saturn is quincunxing the North Node, and the South Node here is on the Galactic Center. And so this is the delusion that, oh yeah, I get the whole universe and my own universe without looking at the writing on my wall. The environment will change eventually, so I'll just stay doing the same bullshit and constantly. Like, no, that's missing the mark. So you will have missed the mark right here, big time. That's August 9th. And now there's some people saying, of course, that the Lion's Gate, like ends on the 8th. Because so many people are so obsessed with the 8-8 Lion's Gate thing. And as the Leo King and as a Leo, with Leo Sun, Leo Rising, Venus Leo, Mercury Leo, Vesta Leo, Juno Leo, I even have Isis conjunct my Juno, conjunct my Venus in Leo. I got a lot of fucking Leo, including my rising. I am pure fucking blood. I'm pure blood. I can tell you that this Lionsgate shit, I would say that it's more like on the 9th, if we were to actually be real, not because of the numbers, because actually we're in a leap year, so technically the whole, like, this is where these people that are using the Gregorian calendar system for fucking portals are ridiculous. Ridiculous. Not true. False. Fake spiritual news. Fake spiritual news. And if you see people posting up this Lionsgate shit, I dare you to ask them where they got the information from. Ask them what makes it a Lionsgate. And if they try to tell you it's because it's 8-8, go show them a chart of 8-9. And go show them that what constitutes a Lionsgate is being just purely in your heart fully and being a fucking lion all the time. Not fucking a date. Oh, you only get this window of being a lion or being courageous or not. The whole time of Leo is about that. That's the Lion's Gate. The whole time of Leo. So, this Mercury square Uranus is no joke, because that's the smack on your mind, the smack on your environment. That's a lightning storm. Mercury square Uranus is also flash of light of information that if you don't write it down or you don't record it, it will just be like in and out. But that also is your life almost being like written off the pages in many ways. There was a soccer player that I think recovered recently. He was running on the field playing soccer, and a lightning bolt struck him. That's Mercury square Uranus. What the fuck? And then it's that fast. What? Wow. And this is all while there's all this Aries and this intense and it's square Saturn. It's like, wow. And Saturn's like, come back here, moon. Like, and that's the sheep herder. Like, you think you're going anywhere with your ego, thinking that you're not in alignment with your destiny? Oh, you're still thinking you can go where you want to go? And with Venus there in Cancer, that's going to feel very uncomfortable because Venus is like, I don't really have any allies at all. Venus has no allies through this. Venus has got to go through major I'm going to put another color. Venus is going to go through oppositions to all that Capricorn. Venus is going to go through all the squares of all this Aries. And then Venus is also going to go through this transit some pretty other weird stuff. Like there's going to be some, well, I would say that when you look at the astrology and you look at the time of Venus when it gets into this crazy mess, it will be when we are in the craziest times ever. So maybe the lightning bolt that strikes you is to finally wake you up and change your environment and to a better life. Because then what comes on Monday is this Sun quincunx Jupiter. We're going to see it come exact Sunday or Monday. Are you ready to open the door? Like, did you open the doors or not? So the Lion's Gate, I would say, is still open. Or it's been closed because you don't know how to open up the doors to your destiny and to your true happiness and to your heart and to where you need to go. And you still are in questioning and belief mode that you believe something will just change. And believe that the world will just one day. You know what, if you're, and this is a bad day for travel. This whole weekend is horrible for travel, especially planes, even cars a little bit. If you didn't think everything through. Because Mercury square Uranus is not good for travel. With Mercury fast and going into a very slow Uranus. Let's just take a look at that real quick. I'm giving my travel warning for this weekend. And I also think that we're going to start to see, if you're an American, if we already are seeing in New York City, which I said they would start restricting state to state. I think this is where we're going to start seeing states starting to say, this is our environment. We don't want anybody here. This is my kingdom. This is my state. I don't want other people from that state coming in. And that's why at the beginning of this whole show, and if you didn't listen to it and you're just at this point, make sure you listen to my beginning of the show of why I said that the number one thing about this is not only missing the mark, but it's also missing the mark on how are we all going to get along. This is where people are not going to get along. And I'm just here to tell you that because with Mercury being the ruler of travel by car and just like it's quick travel. With Uranus there, it's like, there's way too many unpredictables. What if you go travel into a state and that state closes off and they don't like you, or like right now, like let's say you were in New York City and, you know, you go through a checkpoint and they're like, oh wait, you didn't have the 14-day, here's $10,000 notice. Oh, you don't have the money right now? Who knows what that is? That's creepy. Are you ready for that kind of stuff in the world? And then the plane stuff is the Sun quincunxing Jupiter. That's weird stuff about travel and restrictions and visas and government involved and the Sun trying to push through. As the Sun's starting to make trines here to Mars, it's not exact. It's like people are starting to go, okay, well, I am doing what I want, but it's like the writing on the wall when it comes to travel right now, especially long, big travel, especially planes, because it's South Node Sag, especially at the Galactic Center, are you that much of somebody who's not paying attention to the whole thing unless it's like an emergency? Like, I think that's the only thing that really the universe is allowing, you know? But if it's just for pleasure and to go vacation and go sit on the beach and all that shit, that whole vacation could be just taken away in a second. The North Node is in Gemini. It's like, create the vacation in your local environment that you want to be in. But if you got to travel to get to the right environment, I get it. You know what I mean? That makes sense, by God. But if you're traveling to other environments because you hate your environment and you want to go back to that environment, that's called insanity. And this is where things get crazy on Monday because this is what we see is the moon at 19 here. Let's change this color here too. All right, so we got the moon at 19, the sun at 19. Now this is on so Monday into Tuesday, but this is Tuesday. the sun and moon square in 19, while the moon will trine Jupiter, but the sun will quincunx Jupiter. And we are actually going to see Jupiter-Neptune a yod to the sun. Now, this is a pretty rare yod. It's a finger of God pointing towards the sun in Leo, that the only way to open up the ultimate door. So again, another reason why I'm telling you that these fucking Lionsgate portals are bullshit, because if I were to pick the ultimate portal, August 11th, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it's 11, it has to do with the fact that there's a yod on that Gregorian calendar day with 19 degrees sun, 19 degrees Jupiter, Capricorn, and Neptune at 20:21 minute. You have to have a 1 degree to 2 degree orb max in a sextile, and you have to have at least a 1 degree to 2 degree max to do the quincunxes to the sun in this point, or whatever planets in the other part of the finger of God. This is a true finger of God. And I can tell you, as being born with 2 of them, with the sun involved in Leo, that again, puppet on a puppet string, but a destined puppet by a destined God to do a destined dance, to become a destined real character, to do something big. If you at this point are not ready to open up the ultimate doorways to your divine reason for being on this planet, and you're not ready to take the risk, and that God's pointed at it, and God's looking at you and being like, it's the fairy godmother going, am I going to make you a real boy at this point? Am I going to make you a real girl? Am I going to make you the real thing? That's the yod. It's the finger. It's a very difficult part. It's very weird. It takes a sextile, which is very positive, of Jupiter and Neptune, which get along very good. They both like to look outside the realms. So this is dealing with outer realm stuff. But Jupiter and Capricorn also is about making big choices about your destiny. Neptune's about choices from a divine God, and the sun is the king of all the astrology, of all the planets, right? Like, it's the everlasting light. It's the everlasting light of yourself, of your solar plexus, of your truth. This is all while the south node is on the galactic center. So you cannot make this shit up. That this is, releasing the karmic energies on a more physical plane to allow yourself to understand that you came here to go somewhere, not trying to connect backwards to where we are, where we came from, but initiating where we came from to where we're doing with it and where we're going. I hope people understand what I mean by that. That might sound crazy, but that you have to let go of where you came from energetically, spiritually, for a moment here and go, I need to be more focused on that I am already here and that I have a destined place to go with it. You can't keep, as Pinocchio, keep looking at you're a fucking puppet. You have to, at that moment, say that I am the real boy. I am the real girl. I am it, and I am destined to do something great. The problem with the story of Pinocchio is they don't tell us what he does as a real boy. The problem with your life at this point is that you don't know what your destiny looks like until you when you actually get initiated or divinely crowned by God at this point to go onto this radically new story that is of Neptune, Jupiter energies, that is of one that says it's time to open up the doors to an infinite divine source of the projector, that you are being thrown into the movie reels of the universe to do your greatest work and life and bring the light and the love and or you are so focused on where you came from and you don't know where to go because you keep thinking about the strings that are making you a puppet, and you don't know how to make up your own consciousness, and you don't know how to make up your own power of your own happiness and self. You don't know how to follow your own heart. You don't know how to follow your own destiny that you know that your heart creates, that was divinely given to you and orchestrated, predetermined by a higher divine source. If you think that all this is hearsay and garbage and nonsense, good luck. Good luck. The beauty of it, though, is that divine source loves you so much that it's still giving you good luck to still be here. But it depends on how much it's going to provide you in the story, if you're going to be a background actor or you're going to be a lead role. Because that's where this is at. A yod to the sun in Leo by a once in a lifetime Jupiter, Neptune sextile with Neptune in its home sign, the sun in its home sign. You'll never see that again in your life. With Jupiter in Capricorn dealing with destiny, with Jupiter, with Saturn in the house and with Pluto there, and with Mars in Aries in its home sign, trining the sun now at 3 degrees orb, and Mars squaring Pluto and Jupiter. You know, if Pluto was just one more degree, which it almost pretty much is, you could add Pluto almost in this yod. It's a Jupiter-Pluto sextile Neptune yod to the sun in Leo. With the moon that is squaring the sun at the same point. This shit, that's David Palmer, but I'm a little unique and different. I'm the sextile of the sun and the moon with yod to Neptune, and then Neptune to Pluto to the sun. So I get it. I know I came from some fucking weird place, but I don't sit there and fucking connect there 24/7. When I got in a car accident and almost died recently, I fucking went back up there and said, am I going to still stay down there? Are you going to make sure that I'm okay? And they're going to be fine. I'm like, okay, we made the deal. Okay, wake up. Fucking what just happened? Like, I only tap in at certain times, like, to just, like, check back at home. You know what I mean? Especially since I'm bored with South Node and Sag. I'm not supposed to keep looking at where I came from. And I'm also not supposed to just be on long distance travel this life and all that shit. I've already traveled a long fucking way to get here. You know what I mean? I came here a long fucking way just to be able to sit on this fucking couch and give you this. It already feels like a journey to get from the room to get the charts and put it on here and then just sit on the couch. And that's what it feels like for everybody already. So if you're going to try and just extend your space to such a space to where you're never getting anything done, it's not going anywhere, that's ludicrous. That's why I'm saying that this whole Lionsgate bullshit of them trying to say that 8-8, or even if they say 8-11 because of the 11, that's what I'm saying. Ask the person why they say that it is. I want everybody that follows me to at least ask. Because we need to get to the bottom of this shit if we're really going to do true astrology and we're going to do spirituality here. Because there's a lot of fake shit out there, and this whole Lionsgate shit is bullshit. Because if it really was, it would be like, okay, what time? If they do say 8-11, or maybe they're going to change it to 8-11 from me saying this, because most of them watch this shit and listen to this shit for 8 fucking years and fucking go make memes about it and act like they understood all the info. And I'm going to tell you that they're not going to bring up the yod, and if they bring up the yod, that's because they heard it here. I haven't heard one person talk about this yod yet. It's because most astrologers don't bring up yods, because they don't even understand them. They don't even do them. And a yod is something that a lot of astrologers don't use, which is technically the finger of God, which that is what is being pointed at, and I'm going to use a different color here, and that's why I'm spending so much time on this day, on Tuesday, which I think is so important to note. And here, I'll do this, I'll erase this so you can see this yod to here and here and here. So, and it's with the moon in Taurus exalted, square the sun in its dignified position. So let's look at those exaltations real quick. Look at the moon, plus 10. Yeah, baby. Wow, Saturn is not doing too well. We've been seeing Saturn at plus 10. Nope, Saturn, during the yod, you're not part of the show, bro. That's why I'm telling people when it comes to them living in their traditions and living in all these rules, and I have to do this, and I have to do that, and I have to oh my God. Yeah, it's been plus 10, so it feels like you must do that. But the fact that the moon is exalted, you have to remember that the exaltation point is the best place in many ways because it is the place where it can feel the best. Why is the moon exalted in Taurus? Because, sure, comfort emotionally of being wrapped up in a blanket like a Cancer-like energy, right? Like Cancers love to be in a blanket with nice things and like a TV on and good food. But that's the whole thing. It's more just a blanket. Taurus is, I have enough money to order the DoorDash to come to the bed and chill out and a nice view and plants and a fucking nice window and a beautiful ocean to look at and a body massage and the suntan and the whole gauntlet and a nice ride and a value of myself as a human being that I know I am worthy of this and I don't feel guilty for being the person I am that got me to that place. That's 95% of why the world is so fucked up, is not the fact that it's this system. It's that you as an individual don't know how to exalt your own being in yourself. Why do you think the world's in chaos? Aries is trying to show you that the truth is, especially in Aries, that nobody knows how to be an exalted being. Nobody knows how to be their own fucking great hero. Nobody knows how to fucking do anything except fucking just be in their own suffering and doesn't know how to own their fucking life, doesn't know how to own who they are. And I'm telling you this and channeling you this as somebody who was born with all these fucking alignments that I'm showing you right now. Like, for real. Like, nobody fucking told me to be the Leo King. There was no fucking newspaper ad that said, looking for a job, Leo King. No, there was not. I defined that in my own being and fucking own that shit on my own. Where are you in this game when it comes to that shit? You want the world to change? You think it's a fucking vaccination? Really? You think that's going to change the world? No, it's you. It's you, and it's what you are going to do. It's not some physical thing. It is the physical being that you are that is the most essential thing that is on the planet. You. And so I'm showing you this because the moon has +10 and the sun has +8 and even Venus is at a +9 in Cancer. Because even look at Mars at +7. Saturn is overthrown at this point. Even though he's not overthrown, he is freaked the fuck out. This is the light. This is the biggest moment that we've had in 2020 where the dark is scared. The control systems are scared because of those who did everything I've been trying to tell you through these weeks of following your truth. But if you didn't, they have wrangled you in already and you missed the mark. Because you don't know how to be your own exalted being and you don't know how to put yourself into all the best situations. The Sun in Leo, Mars in Aries, Neptune in Pisces, ultimate divine understanding of God, best positions emotionally and owning your value of a better life and always having that and not fucking sacrificing that and saying, you know what, I'll just take the fucking shitty CVS brand. No. 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 Moon in Taurus is no. No, you know what? And you know what? You all know I'm not the most environmental person. I don't have a garden and shit. That's a fake plant behind me. So I'm not the best with this. But the moon in Taurus is the garden. And what are you gonna like accept? Like, because I'm not in this world. But like the health people that love nice food and stuff are you gonna accept being sprayed your garden with a bunch of fucking chemicals that you don't like? Like fucking, I forgot the company name that's so bad, but fucking Monsanto. No. Like if you were in front of the garden and you saw Monsanto spraying your shit, you'd be like, get out of here. You know what I mean? You'd say, get out of here. Because people have their own gardens everywhere around the world, and they don't definitely have Monsanto. And they don't have a big fucking huge ass fucking tractor going, right? So we obviously know, but we all don't want that shit. But that's what I'm trying to say is that because people get triggered by money because they don't know how to own their own value and their own worth, and they don't know how to build anything because they don't believe that they can emotionally, and they don't know how to hold on to that emotion. And Moon in Taurus is the most secure moon because it is the place that's like, I'm emotionally secure in myself, and you don't like me, you don't think I'm great, fuck you. And with a Sun in Leo, hello, I am a king, I am a queen, I am a divine being from God, and I have so much unique light in me, and I am an inspiration to the world because of, and especially with the moon in Taurus, I know the value of it, right? That's what you need to tell yourself. I know the value that God has given me. I know that God values me, and I know that I value God at the equal playing fields, and I value all people, and I value everything in the universe in that same love and light. And this is an amazing magical doorway with Jupiter and Neptune sextile with Pluto of whether or not you're going to own that or not, or you're just going to still continue to not make your life amazing, not make your life great, and not listen to this yod. The God is pointing to Leo. God drop. God is pointing to Leo. And I know that people are going to think I'm some narcissist because I'm the Leo king and I'm a Leo and all that shit, but I'm talking about a yod to the sun in Leo by Neptune, an outer planet, and by Jupiter that happens to be in a perfect sextile with Neptune. Fucking doesn't happen, folks. Doesn't happen. Not with Neptune and Pisces. The only time that you can get a sun in Leo with Neptune and Pisces, okay, to make a yod, you would have to have Jupiter, that would be but that would be a square, right? So that's what I'm trying to show you is that using the astrology, the only point that could really be a yod would be from Capricorn and to Neptune to create a yod to Leo. That's it. Which, why does Leo rule the sun? And why is it the ruling of life? It's because Capricorn is destiny and Neptune is God and the eternal vibrations of the outpost to the higher realms of the universe that are invisible. And as Leo, the home positions is Saturn and Capricorn, right? And Neptune and Pisces with the sun in Leo. Now, if it was Saturn and Neptune, we did see some Saturn-Neptune sextiles in 2019. And I told you all to fucking get yourself in alignment with the fucking yod of last year. I was like, it ain't coming back ever in our lives again. Well, this is a Jupiter-Neptune one that's giving people the benefits of who made their choices correctly in 2019. That's what I'm saying. Did you miss the mark? You still have a chance to not miss the mark. But if you're at this point and you're on Tuesday and you're just going to swindle yourself, you're swindling yourself. Nobody's swindling you. A sun in Leo and a moon in Taurus knows when it's being swindled, not by who's swindling it, because it doesn't matter whom. I've been swindled 1,000,000 times over. I have been betrayed 1,000,000 times over. The only person that betrays me is myself. Nobody else. Myself. I betrayed myself. And that's an exalted being, is when you realize that you only betray yourself. Stop blaming the whole fucking world. South Node and Sag. And that's where I'm going to get to this galactic center thing, because Tuesday, yeah, we see that, and I'll see you all on Wednesday. But this is what I want to show you. And I'm using Astro.com because I love Astro.com, and I think, it was interesting. Melanie Reinhardt wrote this, and I definitely I'll be honest, I haven't heard of her, but I'm going to go research her after this, because after all my reading of stuff, I was like, I've read a lot about the Galactic Center, but there was something in here that made me fucking go, applying it with the South Node just blew my mind. Okay, so the Galactic Center is the center position, of course, at 27 degrees of Sag. It moves 1 degree every 72 years. A lot like Regulus, how it's a fixed star that moves. But remember, the Galactic Center is not a star. It's the position of our viewpoint from the actual center of the galactic energy, of the galactic line, of the galaxy itself. Any planet located in the last 5 degrees of Sagittarius can be described as aligned with the galactic center. Although this term relates only to their position within the field of the tropical zodiac, not taking into account the intricacies of true physical positionality, motion, and velocity. That's the precession of the equinox. If you go to sidereal, it's not going to be there. 27 of Sag is going to be more like, 23 and a half degrees off, so about 3 degrees, 3.5 degrees. Although this term relates only to the position. Okay, the article finds an imaginal and symbolic view of the galactic center and our relationship with it, laced with a few factoids. A factoid is something stated as fact, and by virtue of collective acquiescence and repetition, repetition is considered to be true regardless of merit. We would say that today's heresy is tomorrow's factoid, so let's hold lightly the prevailing views we might encounter, as in time they will no doubt be superseded. This allows our imagination to come forward, connected as it is to personal experience, to soul, and to our locus on earth at this time. The imagination can be highly specific without being tied to factoids, but to mistake one for another, therein lies madness. So Of course, she talks about Pluto's discovery. And of course, Pluto went through with Jupiter on the galactic center in 2007. This Jupiter-Pluto is not this great fantasy. And I thought about this. So in 2007, December, right, we vote for the presidency, right, of going to see who's the president in 2008. But it's ironic that Obama ran for hope, right? Jupiter, Pluto, and on the galactic center is this hopeful, like, let's make the mark, let's hit the mark, right? Let's hit the mark. Let's aim for the hope. I was all on the train. I'm not saying that he's a bad person or anything. I'm just saying that was the vibe, right? We need to definitely go with Obama. Like, there was something about Obama, like he was going to change the whole fucking world. We all felt it. We all needed the world to change. And he was the guy who led that charge. That's galactic center energy. That was Jupiter, Pluto, but that was activating in that year to 2008 of the expression of that. We are in an opposite Jupiter, Pluto. We are in a Jupiter, Pluto, and Capricorn about law, order, government rules, restrictions, and all that shit. So it feels hell, you know? Remember, Capricorn rules hell. And don't be triggered, Capricorns, you're not hell. On a somatic level, the sun rules the heart of Leo, the solar plexus, so there was all that. But there was, here we go, right here. In the words of Dane Rudyard, man projects upon the outer world what he potentially is. In order to discover and actualize his innate potential of being, what man perceives in the universe, being a projection of his most characteristic need, is for this reason a symbol of what man is. Thus, the knowledge of our entire solar system revolves around a yet greater center called the galactic center. Parallels an inner need within humanity to be released from its egoic false selfhood as represented by the distorted heliocentric worldview. Distorted, I love how she said the distorted heliocentric worldview. Trapped in this paradigm, human selfishness is a narcissistic way of life fueled by greed and consumerism. Vetted interests convince us that we have to get by, procure, or achieve a multitude of substitutes for the true selfhood for which we long. However, our true individuality, represented to the symbolism of God, or of gold, which I would say is God is gold, as mentioned above, prompts us to see through these illusions and to the rest in the inner light of which it partakes, safe in the knowledge that the self is innate and cannot be bought, sold, or achieved, in which I would call the exalted being that is divinely innate by God of self that is connected to the knowledge of that to the universe. But this is the interesting part, and this is where I'm ending. The mythic origin of the galaxy, the Milky Way, is portrayed of the story of Hercules, who's the son of Zeus, which would be the son of Jupiter. Which Jupiter, remember, is the ruler of Sagittarius, where the galactic center happens to be now in our current time frame, and has been, if it's at 27 degrees, times that by 72 years. That's how long the galactic center has been in Sag. Understanding our universe. Also, if you understand the story of Zeus, not only was he the god of all the gods, but at the same time he raped, he did a lot of crazy things. We're in a crazy universe, okay? Sag is a wider range of information, but it misses the mark, and that's what I'm going to show you here. However, as his mother was a mortal woman, Hercules was much hated by Hera, the first wife of Zeus. It is said that Zeus put Hercules to Hera's breast while she was asleep, so that by drinking her milk, Hercules could be assured of immortality. Hera awoke to find a suckling baby, not her own, at her breast. Angered, she withdrew her nipple, and her milk streamed across the sky, forming the Milky Way. So, the Milky Way is not the milk that was supposed to be, like got milk. Like, got milk? Not the milk that I fucking wanted to give to that baby. The word galaxy comes from the same root of the word milky, which is galaxious. Astrologically, when the galactic center zone is activated by transit, so why do I bring that up? Because it is activated by the south node this week. Whew. Very rare. The node, the knot, the connection point to the matrix is literally in alignment to the exact place of where your higher self really is in the South Node, but there is a point where you have to realize that you are here and where you're doing with here to go instead of being lost in where you are or where you're from. And moving forward and moving into truth of whatever we can find the point of in our life instead of sitting here trying to understand things that don't make sense and just believing things without doing our own compare and contrast. That's what I'm about to show you. So let's go back. This Hera's breast is withdrawn, metaphorically speaking, meaning that places, people, ideas, notions, and events in our life, and this is based when the transits activate this, where we have previously projected our own sense of higher self. So the issue is that people are projecting their own sense of a higher self or a deeper center as a source of nourishment that may collapse because of the fact that the baby went to the mother and the mother said, "Not my nipple." Think about that for 1 second. You come for some nourishment to get some milk, and no, you're not getting that milk. We're going to waste that milk and spray it all over the fucking galaxy. Wow. Woo! What a beautiful story. You know, this is just getting great. But it's these last lines that blow my mind. And I'm going to reach out to her and say she did an amazing job on this. I don't even know her. The source of nourishment is made class, let us down, crumble, turn against us, or simply quietly depart. That which promised immortality fails us. Our tribal associations, national or racial identities, while valuable on their own level, are relinquished. Huh. A lot of that going on right now. Or not. This is what we have to let go of. This feeling that we have been failed of the immortality of the sense of self that is defined, not of the eternal, but is defined of this higher, deeper self that is associated with that we are being let down, that we are being turned against us. But you know what it also is? It's the aspects of our tribal associations, right? Our national or racial identities, while valuable on their own, are relinquished. Through these transitions or crises, our conscious develops. So it's through these things that they're developing us, but you have to realize that, so this is not the end of the world. This is the conscious developing through realizing the truth through these matters, but the truth of that, if we really want to look deep at it, that these crises that are going on are actually not crises. They're crises of the consciousness not looking at the crises correctly. This may require a great deal of psychological processing, allowing grief and confusion to give way to peace and clarity. Both our physical bodies and subtle bodies may need attention as toxins begin to be eliminated when we travel the celestial pathway. And there's something about on here, and maybe it wasn't her, but oh yeah, with Sagittarius and how when the first 5 degrees of Sagittarius are stimulated by transit, a process of awakening, which we've seen last year and we've seen with all the other transits, it becomes this last part that becomes where you actually see the master of being a, whether you want to call that a spiritual teacher or spirit or teacher or some sort of thing, there's that whole element of like, you have to go through letting go of crisis and identification and be eternal with the one of source, and also at the same time though, be aimed at that source instead of getting lost in the belief systems that, look at the world right now. Look at what the belief is everything. It's a future tense, all the articles. This is going to be this. I did it just live on Instagram last night. You know, every story is, and I'm not going to say the name because, of course, I don't want to trigger everything and trigger YouTube, but it's like, you know, CV might be top 10 way to die of 2020. It's not even in the top 10. Everything is might. This hospital might reach full capacity and never be able to recover. Might. Everything is a very Sag, missing the mark. And South Node and Sag is the archer aiming, oh no, I'm for sure going to, this is what, for sure it's going to go there. And then there's this North Node in Gemini that's like, no, actually right now, at this moment, it's not. At this moment. So you have to look at yourself when it comes to your relationship life, your whole life in this week and be like, at this moment, is this working? Instead of, you know what, I believe it will work. I just got to keep believing. This is where you need to turn off the keep on believing. You got to throw those fucking tracks out for a minute. And you got to go like, this ain't working now. The point is not being made. Let me let go of the crisis that I'm creating by creating this self that I believe is this higher self of all-knowing self, that it will look this way, that I will be nourished eventually. When you will not be, that breast milk will be sprayed not even by your face, close enough, but not enough to get any, and be sprayed across the whole galaxy that we live in. And there's something about that I will put my 2 cents to this, is that the fact that you feel that you're so not understanding in this reality, in this world, is because of the fact that you feel betrayed, because of the fact that you don't know why you're here. You don't know how you got here. We don't know what the fuck is going on in this life already. And that is being enhanced through the understanding of 2020 itself. And that there is a truth, that there is energies out there that actually have created some sort of crisis, that have actually been to throw us and use all of the things that we are as people, fears, and all these things to have us miss the mark of our truth, to follow the mark of something else. That's where I guess they even maybe get in the Bible the mark of the beast, since of course astrology was before the Bible, and of course we all know that Constantine had to talk to the magistrates of people who followed paganism to form the Bible. That the mark of the beast is the mark that you miss of your eternal knowing, not as this divine, like, or how did she put it, as this, playing God self, but allowing God to play and show you the direction. That I've been saying this since, you can look it up, Conscious Life Expo 2015. We are, if you understand the galaxy, it looks like, I always say a cinnamon roll to have fun, but you know what it is? It's the real on a movie. The planets that go around the sun that rotate, the sun that sits there, the earth that rotates, all of it is movie reels. What you feel betrayed about is the fact that you're not nourished because you're not ready to accept that the nourishing is going to come from your control of your belief of how life should look. It's about accepting the fact that there is a preset reel of truth, that a divine order above your own ego, above your own higher self, has a plan that has in the real that is much better, and that this yod is allowing you to be the character from that higher God that is allowing you to be in the movie as the best role that you can be, and be in the best part of the preset story of the real. Or you can take your control and you can take your ego and you can have a nice day as a background actor in a crisis situation in the movie. What do you want? That you are not the director, that there is a higher source that is a director, and it is looking for its lead roles. And it is preset in a reel that is amazing as fuck. And that is what you must let go of. And that's why I'm telling you, and I have been for so long, if you can't understand that notion of all the things I've told you for the years and years of all this coming, that this is the point to where for this second half of the last part of 2020, the battle of the gods is, do you want to be in the movie 300 as like a bystander? Or do you really want, I never said that in this thing either, okay? I didn't even talk about 300. But I'm just saying that, like, are you going to go into this battle against God? And I'll be honest, are you going to go into this battle of, no, and this is not about Christianity Because a lot of people think that. This is science and fucking egoic minds who think that they can beat God. But God's a triggering word. Spirit, the highest realm, the highest source. Because that south node, and ironically we'll use Mr. Gates as an example. He was born with the north node in Sag and the south node in Gemini. It's flipped for him right now. Your nodal flip comes right before your Saturn return. That means he's got a Saturn. You know, he's well, actually, maybe I forgot his age, but I just know that he's got that. I forgot what his age is. I think he just got Jupiter, Pluto, and Leo, so. I mean, yeah, he's coming into a Saturn opposition, so he's after his Saturn return. So he's 74, 75 probably. I'm doing this all in my head. Or 64, so he just said so he has Jupiter and Pluto. He has Saturn and Scorpio. No. I mean, if it's in Capricorn now and he's 64, that means he has it in what, Sag? So is he born in 19... I don't even have it in Scorpio, and he's a Scorpio. 7 years, 58, yeah, so that's coming to Aquarius. And so if he's 64, he's born in 56. Oh, he's Scorpio, so he's born in 55. Yeah, he does have Saturn in Scorpio, and he does, okay. And he's got the North Node in Sag. And he's about to come to a Saturn square. So his plans will be foiled, okay? Saturn square Saturn with the nodes against him. That this guy actually believes his true north is that he understands the universe. When the truth now is with the south node with his north node and with the north node being in Gemini, that's also why he can have no doctorate, no, right? Like this guy has no, pretty much, he didn't even finish college, right? So he doesn't have a degree, he doesn't have anything, and he's somewhat telling everybody what to do in a weird way. But that's why he also acts like he understands everything, that he has the facts for everything, and he lives off his facts, which actually he needs to be more open to understanding that people go through a lot more than just whatever factually looks on paper. And this is a moment for him where he's living in his all-knowing self of, I know how to fix everything, when he doesn't, because only God does. And I'm using that as an example. Are you doing that in your own life? Or are you ready to take the leap to the other side of that? So, because if you look at this galaxy, that it is some sprayed breast milk that wasn't supposed to go to the nourishment of the soul that wanted it at the moment, your life will always be chaos. It's when you accept that maybe there's a different movie being told and then a different understanding being told, and it's for those souls that exalt in themselves and dignify in themselves with an understanding that there's a higher order, and that higher order you surrender your all-knowing to as far as how the real will play, but you give your highest order to that higher realm, and you surrender your egoic self of how it should exactly look, because it will automatically be channeled to you, and it will have a sense that you will be a player in the game that allows the movie to feel like ecstasy. I feel bad for that homeboy, you know? I'm not even calling him my homeboy, but I will, because he's a fellow human being. It doesn't look like that fool's in ecstasy. You know? And I think that he thinks that every time he'll jab something into somebody's arm, that it's going to give him fucking ecstasy, which is sadistic. As a Scorpio like he is, square Jupiter, Pluto with Saturn and Scorpio and the sun. Are you poking and prodding at things to find ecstasy that you know is in alignment with your truth? this is your last call. I'll be honest. When I brought up Battle of the Gods, there was a part of me too, like, okay, well, at least we got a little bit of time. I said August 3rd, and seeing the Beirut blast, which I will predict and I will say, and it already started to come out. I said in 24 hours we'll start to see some of the info. Okay, there's Russian ship with a bunch of the same chemicals that were used in the Oklahoma City bombing. That's the same chemical. Just sitting there. Then you have the Israeli president in 2018 who's showing that Hezbollah has missile sites right in that zone in 2018 with holding missiles. Is that chemical and the missiles? And what's the deal? There's way too much here to fuck around with right now with what's going on in the world, to stop not allowing the truth of your soul and all that I've said today to really happen. That I'm going to stop saying you have no more. I'm not going to stop saying like this is like, you know, like you don't have much time, because I'm at the point to where now I'm like, as an astrologer, like the time's over. I'm being like, this is like how Morpheus pulled Neo in, even when they say to him, like, we've never done somebody this old before, like this is, and Neo's throwing up and takes days to even be able to function because of the mind blow. That's what I'm saying is where we're at. That red pill that's here for these last people is it. This finger of God, though, is for those that have been on the train exalting, and for those that are ready to move into the truth. After this point, I don't see anything that constitutes any sort of, like I said, it's going to be patient city. It's going to be very difficult stuff of having to push through, and it's battle of the gods. And it's the battle of whether or not you are at battle with God, or if you're going to follow the group of people that are a very small group that control all the radio waves and all the ways that you see the world, that are telling you how the world should look and how it should be and what is the world going through and what is it really doing. And I'm sending you my best. You can check out Battle of the Gods and make sure that you join us on highvibe.tv. And I'm sending you all my great love. And this is going to be our new slogan we came up with, which I think it's a great slogan. You know you feel it. Are you ready to see it? So, or are you just going to continue living your life in denial? I can tell you that it's been a long journey for me, but I just felt it, and I saw it, and I just did it. And even and it was funny. I had my mom talking to me on my live stream. My mom doubted me at one moment in my life. And I think she even told me at one time, like, that was probably one of the biggest mistakes probably in her life, when I did accomplish my dream. But no matter what you feel, no matter what you do, you have to do it. And it might seem crazy to people, but if you don't see what God's showing you and being that exalted being in the preset story, that's you aligning in the reels of the story and being great, not sitting as the audience within the movie and going along for the fuck show ride that it seems chaotic. Look up the understandings of the real magic with a K, the nature and the art and the chaotic universe, and you'll understand more. And especially call out every Lionsgate portal, Instagram, and ask them why. You can tell them I sent you. Love you all.